Open at 9 a.m. and our keynote speaker will speak at 10. The last session will be ending just at 4 o'clock, but the Church at Liberty Square is located at 2001 Liberty Square Drive, Cartersville, Georgia.
Okay, in Cartersville. It's going to be in Cartersville. And it's coming up May 5th.
Yes,
It's May 5th. So you need to go in and register. Where do you register to go?
BACC.life
Okay.
is our website, and there's a QR code, and there's also information if you want to register through the email. And we are also providing lunch.
Oh.
And when someone goes to the website, they'll be able to see all of the speakers and all of the subjects, and they can actually choose which one they want to go to when they register.
And it's all about caregivers, what you're doing, right?
Caregiver and dementia education.
And you're part of the Dementia and Caregivers Coalition that supports the caregivers all around up in that area, right?
Yes, we are located in Bartow County, but we will serve the surrounding areas. And if someone just wants to talk, we'll talk with anyone from anywhere on the phone and give a consultation. And nothing that we do has a fee attached to it. So everything we do is free.
with the symposium.
Yeah.
Okay,
the symposium is free, right? And where can they go again? Tell where they go one more time.
D as in dementia, ACC, DACC.LIFE, life.
And you can go with that if you need to talk to somebody or you want to sign up or anything you need, go that one, right? That website, right?
Absolutely.
Great.
Our contact information is there.
John Clark, Georgia News Network.
.5 Glory FM is WGTJ Murrayville, Gainesville, and W248DL Murrayville, Gainesville.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson is calling this week's 6-3 Supreme Court decision a game changer for this year's midterm elections. The High Court ruled that congressional districts mapped on the basis of race are unconstitutional. On the Salem News program this week on Capitol Hill with Tony Perkins, the Louisiana Republican predicts far-reaching impact for the 2026 voting cycle.
We're going to get a new map in Louisiana. I think a number of the states in the South may get the same treatment because their maps are also drawn on an unconstitutional basis at this point. The more people recognize that, the greater the chance is we get maps that accurately reflect the populations of those states. I think in the end of this, the Republican Party will gain a number of seats, and that will be helpful to the House.
Speaker Johnson's full interview will be heard when This Week on Capitol Hill is broadcast beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time today on the Salem News Channel. The Iran war has much of the world focused on the fragile supply lines for Middle East oil. That sparked renewed interest in Alaska's vast oil resources. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum says the administration is ramping up production in Alaska.
We're talking about something is literally named the National Petroleum Reserve that Biden had shut down, now open up again. And we had over a dozen companies competing up there, record revenue coming in that supports the state, the tribe, 5, the federal government, record amount of interest from companies that want to develop there, and we've got the infrastructure on the oil side to support them immediately.
Burgum was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. Spirit Airlines declares bankruptcy, causing a ripple in U.S. air travel.
Spirit's failure could boost fares at a time when ticket prices are already elevated due to higher jet fuel costs from the Iran war. President Donald Trump suggested Friday that if the airline took a federal bailout, the government would be able to sell the airline for a profit once oil prices came down.
That's correspondent Bernie Bennett reporting, and this is SRN News.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a super fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. But wait, there's more. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be switching to an American wireless company that's committed to keeping 100% of its customer service in this country. I appreciate that. In fact, that's why I switched. I also appreciate the way they support our vets and our skilled workforce. Dial pound 250, say micro, and get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. That's pound 250 micro. Stop paying twice what you need to pay for the service you want and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
A warning from a leading Christian researcher.
George Barna has been measuring America's spiritual condition for decades, and he believes the country is in trouble. Barna, who heads the Cultural Research Center, says, quote, a quarter century ago, 12% of the adult population held a biblical worldview. Since then, we've seen a steady reduction in that incidence. We reached a low point, 4% in 2023. But Barna says the decline can be reversed if churches start focusing on discipleship. Michael Harrington reporting.
Abortion questions will be before voters in at least 3 states in November. Missouri lawmakers asking residents to repeal the so-called right to reproductive freedom that they put into the state constitution back in 2024. In Nevada, state constitutional amendment to allow abortion until 24 weeks passed in 2024, but needs voter approval a second time before it can take effect. This is SRN News. As the September 11th 25-year mark approaches, the nonprofit group Tunnel to Towers is taking a piece of the World Trade Center steel across America. The coast-to-coast event kicking off today.
The CEO of Tunnel to Towers, Frank Siller, says this tour is all about educating the next generation and those 25 and under who were not alive during the terrorist attack. The 16,000-pound steel beam from the South Tower of the World Trade Center will be driven on a truck across the country from New York City with stops at American landmarks, including Mount Rushmore in South Dakota, the Space Center in Houston, and the Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Laura Winters reporting.
A popular soft drink is changing its name for the country's 250th birthday. In celebration of America's 250th anniversary, Mountain Dew is releasing limited edition 12-ounce cans and 20-ounce bottles under the name American Dew. More on these stories at srnnews.com.
The following is a presentation of Team Glory Sports.
It's 9:05 at 97.5 Glory FM, and welcome once again to the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Live to the NGPG Sports Center at 97.5 Glory FM. Mike Wofford with me here on this first Saturday in May. Looking forward to wrapping up the school year with a lot of great things happening in state playoff action here on 97.5 Glory FM. This morning on the show, we'll be talking with Coach Trevor Flo, the head baseball coach at North Hall, about their win yesterday. I'll also be talking with Chuck Graham about what's going on in basketball and more. And then we'll also talk with Dave Cohen, wrapping things up this morning about some college things happening in the world of local sports here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM. Welcome back this morning. We're on YouTube this morning. Back to our YouTube program this morning on YouTube at Team Glory Sports. We got a live video stream going. You can see what's going on here behind the scenes here at the Sports Center 97.5 Glory FM. Lots going on as we wrap up the school year with high school baseball, high school soccer, and a lot more activity going on in state playoff action. As you heard here on 97.5 Glory FM yesterday, it was North Hall winning Game 3 of their series against Whitewater, and that was down in Fayetteville, south of Atlanta. The number 8 and number 9 seeds doing battle, with North Hall winning Game 3 14-3, winning the series, advancing on to the quarterfinal round of the state playoffs after the two teams split their doubleheader back on Thursday. And we'll be with you this week as North Hall will take on the defending state champion Troop Tigers after Troop defeated the Cherokee Bluff Bears yesterday, and they were victorious 9-3 over the Bears, winning that series 2-1. So it's now Troop and North Hall in the quarterfinal round. The winner to play in the state semifinals coming up on May 14th and 15th. We'll have the schedule hopefully from Coach Trevor Flo ready to go here. We'll talk to him in a few minutes as North Hall and Troop will play a scheduled doubleheader on Wednesday and a third and deciding game if necessary taking place on Thursday, and you will hear every pitch of every inning of every game of the postseason here on your home team for North Georgia Sports, 97.5 Glory FM. Also yesterday in Class 5A play, Gainesville High saw their season come to a close, a very successful season for Coach Shan Brown's team at Gainesville High. They were at Ivy Watson Field yesterday taking on Glenn Academy out of the St. Simons area yesterday. And the Terrors of Glenn Academy took both ends of the doubleheader against Gainesville there at Ivy Watson Field, eliminating Gainesville from the state playoffs. So their season comes to a close. Buford was victorious in their doubleheader sweep over another team from Gwinnett County. The Brookwood Broncos came in to Gerald McQuaid Field yesterday, and it was Buford winning both of those games. So we have locally still alive in the playoffs Jefferson, East Forsyth, we have Buford, and, of course, North Hall still alive in the high school baseball state playoffs. Jefferson in Class AAA play, they won their games against Harlem in a doubleheader sweep back on Thursday, defeating the Bulldogs who eliminated White County last week. So it was Jefferson winning those games against Harlem, and now it'll be Jefferson on the road. They will be at Peach County down in Fort Valley, a team we saw earlier this year take on Cherokee Bluff in regular season play. So in one bracket, you have the Jefferson team going up against the Peach County team. Also alive from Region 6 AAA, the number 1 team, Pickens. So North Hall would play Pickens for the state championship if they can both win their series. But right now, the final 8 teams in Class AAA are the elite teams. They call it the Elite 8, and this year it is definitely that, with North Hall and Troop on one side of the bracket. On the other side, you have Jefferson taking on Peach County, plus you also have the Pickens Dragons also involved in the quarterfinal round coming up this week in Class AAA play. You also have the East Forsyth Broncos and Coach Kyle Count's team. They are really doing a great job. The number 2 team out of Region 8 Quad 8, they are still alive in the quarterfinal round after winning their games this past week. And, of course, Buford still alive, as always, it seems like, deep into the state playoffs in Class 6A play. Also, soccer action taking place this week in the quarterfinal round of the playoffs. This past week, a huge game took place here locally, as it was East Hall upsetting the defending state champion Johnson Knights, eliminating Johnson from the state playoffs, and East Hall goes on to the next round. They will play Tuesday as they'll go up against the Oconee County Warriors. So 2 teams from the same region there in the 8 AAA. They will be playing each other in the quarterfinal round of the state soccer playoffs, where you're just 3 wins away from capturing a state championship. The best season right now ever for the East Hall team after defeating Johnson on the boys' side, advancing on to the next round. There are still girls' teams that are still alive locally. They'll be playing also coming up next week. And then we get ready for track and field championships, and also golf will be teeing things up, getting ready for state championship action in the next couple of weeks as we round down the school year here locally in Hall County. The school year will end on May 20th with graduation taking place that week. So we're about 3 weeks away from the end of the school year. We may have one more edition of the Saturday Morning Sports Show according to what happens next week, so stay tuned as we'll bring you the latest here on 97.5 Glory FM. And Major League Sports action, the Atlanta Braves won their game last night out in Denver against Colorado as they had a big rally trailing 6-0. They come back and score 8 unanswered runs, including a pinch hit 2-run homer by Michael Harris in the top of the ninth inning, and the Braves win by a score of 8-6. And Didier Fuentes, the rookie moved up from Gwinnett to the Braves. He was in the bullpen last night, and he gets his first major league win with that home run by Michael Harris in the top of the ninth inning, with the Braves now 23-10 overall, the 7.5 game lead over Miami, which is in second place, 8-game lead over the Washington Nationals, like a 9.5 game lead over Philadelphia, and then the Mets are already more than 10 games in back of the Braves starting the month of May. What a successful April it was for the Braves, starting things off, going into the month of May, winning that first game. They're now 23-10 overall on the season. Also be talking with Chuck Graham about the embarrassment of the Atlanta Hawks as they lost a couple of nights ago, one of the worst losses in NBA history in the Game 6 to the New York Knicks. So the Hawks have got to do a lot of things in the offseason. We'll talk about that. And also college sports, the football teams got through with spring practice a couple of weeks ago, and now in the offseason here, getting ready for the upcoming fall season. We'll start our coverage of high school and college football coming up this fall. Our first high school football game is scheduled for Friday, August 21st, and our first college football game, where the new home of Georgia Tech football will have that on the Thursday night before Labor Day coming up in September. And we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to sports coming up this fall here on 97.5 Glory FM. Coming up next, we'll talk high school baseball state playoff action. We'll talk with our first guest, Trevor Flo, the head baseball coach at North Hall. It comes up next on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.5 Glory FM with a live video stream on YouTube at Team Glory Sports.
If you need on-time expert plumbing service, Conditioned Air Systems is here for you. Our plumbers deliver the highest quality service in North Georgia 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. We've been North Georgia's source for elite residential and commercial services since 1983. Our licensed plumbers offer services for installation and repairs of pipes, water heaters, septic lines, and sump pumps. Choose Conditioned Air Systems for quality service and unmatched knowledge for your plumbing needs.
Injuries are never planned and often happen after hours or over the weekend. That's why NGPG Orthopedic and Sports Medicine offers the Black and Blue Walk-In Clinic for injured athletes every Monday morning in their offices in Gainesville, Brazelton, Beaufort, Houston, and Jefferson. No need to call. Just walk right in between 8:30 and 11:30 on Monday mornings. And one of their sports medicine and orthopedic doctors will be there to help identify, treat, and care for your injury. To learn more, you may visit ngpg.org/black and blue. 97.5 Glory FM.
Your radio station for North Georgia sports. 15 minutes past 9 o'clock. Let's go to the phones down and talk with Coach Trevor Flo, head baseball coach at North Hall. Hey, Trevor.
Good morning, Mike.
This is your morning wake-up call, sir. I appreciate you waking up this morning to be with me here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. So how you feeling this morning?
I feel good. Thank you guys for coming and covering the game yesterday. I really do appreciate that.
I appreciate it. It means a lot. We had, talk about why probably most people I ever had come up to me and thank us for being down there, and that means a lot. I know we had a lot of people back here at home that were able to tune into the ball game, and that really means a lot to us as we're here to follow the team all the way, hopefully, to another state championship run. And I was telling people before we start things off this morning, you may have heard, right now, you really call this the Elite Eight. This is 8 of the best baseball teams in the state of Georgia seen in a long time this deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, this the quadrant we're in is basically like playing all the way in the Final Four. And then, you look at the other teams, and everybody's good at what you expect at this point. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and baseball in Georgia is incredible right now. So the level of play, the level of talent, you got to really be on your best game if you want to move forward.
For the listeners who didn't get a chance to hear the games, let's go back to Thursday. You had the doubleheader down at Whitewater, number 8 versus number 9 seed in the field of 32. And the way things worked out is that their power ranking was just a little bit higher than North Hall, so they had the home field advantage. And a great place to play. They were very gracious to us, and they were great to have everybody down there. They were taking care of people. But tell you what, the ballpark was a big ballpark, and they had that starting pitcher. And we're talking about a matchup of 2 outstanding pitchers. Their pitcher, Trey Robbins, then who's going to the University of Houston this upcoming year. And then you have Caleb Sexton, just a great battle to start things off.
Yeah, that the ballpark, not only was it big, it played really big because the ball was not flying at all. So that was an adjustment we had to make. And, you know, in game one, we did plenty enough to win. I think we got to a point where we were just playing not to lose instead of just continuing what we do, and made some uncharacteristic mistakes at the plate and in the field. And, you know, to their credit, they kept going. That's a first-class program, first-class coach. I know Brandon well, and he does a really good job down there. So, yeah, that was exciting. That guy they have on the mound's a real deal. He looks the part, too. He looks like an SEC linebacker.
Big guy, about 6'6", wasn't he? Big guy.
Yeah, he was huge. He was 6'4", 6'5", probably 220, 230. I mean, he's the biggest kid I've seen this year.
So they ended up losing that ball game there in 8 innings as they scored the winning run at the bottom of the 8th inning. Then you had to come back. We talked about yesterday in the pregame show about really assessing how you had to look at game 2 and not have too much pressure on the team. And you had an outstanding pitching performance from Branson Crawford.
Yeah, he stepped up in a big way. You know, he's got a bulldog mentality about him, and that's the best game I've seen him throw this year. And, you know, some of their guys were saying that that's the best curveball they've seen all year and maybe ever. So, you know, the way he battled back there, and, you know, that little bit of adversity was good for us, I think. You know, you don't want to put yourself in a win or go home situation, but when you willed off 15 wins at a pretty good clip, and a lot of those were run rules, you forget what it's like to have to battle to win. So, you know, that little bit of adversity I think was good for us, especially going into yesterday's game.
So tell everybody, too, about making the road trip, because you were out of town for a couple of days, out of school for a couple of days, and we talked about being creatures of habit and get into a routine. How could you get the guys, you know, really ready for Game 3 yesterday?
You know, yesterday I thought it went well for us. They were able to get a little extra sleep. Then we went and hit, kind of took our time getting ready. They were able to get their therapy and their treatment more so than they normally do. We went to a place that had a therapy place on hand, and they let us use it. So, you know, they got the red light therapy and the leg machines and all the things that you do to recover, and that was a blessing for our guys. So we were able to take our time and get ready and not have to rush and really think about what we had to do to be successful. So I think actually in that sense that was probably a positive for our guys.
So we went into game number 3 yesterday, and really everything that we mentioned in the pregame show you were able to accomplish in the game yesterday. We were to get the runs that we needed, and then it seemed like that they ran out of pitching.
Yeah, I knew that they were in a situation where, you know, the numbers on the pitching staff, we had driven it up. So the starter had thrown 52, you know, and you go back to back like that. He actually did a really good job when he came out, and then
he did.
When we got people out of the windup, you know, and put them in a stretch and made them have to do things they weren't comfortable with, that's when we started to string together some hits. You know, the second guy they brought in was really, really good in the windup. You know, when he got in a rhythm, he was hard to hit. But when we got him out of that, we started to be able to draw some walks and put balls in play hard, and his velocity went down. So that was good for us.
And with that, too, talk about your starting pitcher yesterday, Jake Beard, who was in a situation in an elimination game, possibly his final game at North Hall, and he delivered a gem yesterday.
Yeah, he did an amazing job. It was the second day in a row that a senior stood up. All his pitches were working yesterday. He threw well. He threw the majority of them for strikes and backed them up. And our defense did a really good job making plays behind him. And
sure did.
You know, he was able to pitch to some weak contact. And you know, when you get weak contact early in the count, it keeps your pitch counts down. I think he was at like 58 pitches going into the 6th inning. So, you know, if he can get like that before turning the lineup over, and, you know, the top of their lineup is pretty scary. And I think the Trey Robbins kid, they told me he hadn't struck out 3 times in a game in his career, and he struck out 3 times against Branson, and then Jake was able to strike him out, and he held him at bay. I think he was 0 for 7 or 0 for 8. His last 8 ABs.
Yeah.
We're talking about a kid that is very dangerous, so that was really big for us.
Yeah, and that being his last game of his high school career there, and it's okay. Wow, that just shows you what North Hall is able to do as they win yesterday's game 14-3. Our guest this morning on the Saturday Morning Sports Show is Coach Trevor Flo, joining us this morning as we get ready for the next round of the state playoffs. It was really impressive yesterday, Coach, when it comes to your guys had 2 outs in the inning. That's when the rallies really started going on for the team.
Yeah, that for some reason, I don't know why we like to do that. It gives me gray hairs, but we've done that several times this year, where our big innings and important games have come with 2 outs, and we've been able to string together some hits and do some good things on the base paths. So, you got a guy like Thomas Davis yesterday that is not normally a great speed guy, but he picked his spots well and was able to swipe some bags and get in a scoring position, which was huge for us.
Hey, the guy who showed some speed was Custis Honeycutt.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with you 100% on that.
You sent him go around third base, Coach, a couple of times, and he legged out one of them.
We did. I sent him going around third, and I looked up, and he was basically in their dugout. And I was like, where are you going? And that was the one he got thrown out on.
Yep.
And, I felt like that was my fault to an extent. I was trying to get that 5th run, and, anything over 4 away from a grand slam is a good number you'd like to have.
Oh,
so,
sure.
I was trying to get that 5th run, and probably should have held him up right there, but, I got a little excited.
We'll talk about, that it was aggressive yesterday. It was good to see the guys on the base pass, forcing things for Whitewater.
Yeah, we decided, we couldn't let it be stagnant. We had to, especially when you don't have those lefties in there that can control the running game as well. We had to put some more pressure on them and cause things to happen and try to take advantage of dirt balls that were right in front of the catcher, and the guys did a really good job.
You got to give them credit too, Coach. In fact, you had a chance to run rule them there in the 6th, and they came back and scored the 2 runs, forcing the game to go into the 7th inning. That's when they ran out of pitching and were able to score those 4 more insurance runs and put Custis in there to wrap things up.
Yeah, all the credit to them. I mean, that's a great baseball team, and they won, 23, 24 games this year, which is really impressive, and we got in that situation, and I felt like we relaxed a little bit, which I talked to them about after the game. If you're a competitor and you got a killer instinct, you can smile after you walk through the line and the scoreboard's off, but while it's still on, you got to compete and have a killer mentality, and I think we relaxed a little bit and allowed them some free base runners. We got that first out quick, and then we made some errors in the field, and they were able to keep the game going. So
you're always going to find something to work on, I know, from that standpoint. So a 14-3 win, and so there you are now going to the next round of the state playoffs. And a team that's in their region, the defending state champs, that had to go to a game 3 with Cherokee Bluff again, just like last year in the state championship run. So here you are taking on the defending state champs. So you got to beat the best to be the best. So tell me about this series with Troop.
We go down there, hostile environment. They're the defending state champs for a reason, and they returned basically everyone. So their pitching is really good. They're very athletic. They put the ball in play. From what I understand, I don't know that they face the pitching depth that we're able to bring. So, hopefully that'll be in our advantage. But we're going to have to play really, really well.
No doubt about it.
And those guys are used to winning. They're used to winning in big games, and a lot of them are football players and have that football mentality of it doesn't matter, we're just going to keep going, and they're not really fazed by a lot. So, but I like our guys, and I like our ability to compete, and especially on the mound, and we'll see what happens.
We know there shouldn't be any intimidation at all because they're beatable. You saw what Coach Kemp's team did there in Game 1 of that 3-game series back on Thursday, so that you know these guys can be beaten.
Oh yeah, anybody's beatable, and especially in an Elite Eight game where the pressure builds a little bit. So if we get in there and do some good things, hold them at bay at the plate and take away their aggressiveness in the field, and if we're able to hold that mentality down a little bit and piece together some runs against their pitching, anything can happen.
We got a schedule yet, Coach?
I do not have a time yet. Hopefully I'll have that later on today, and I will let you know.
Because you know we're going to be there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm looking forward to that. So it will be on Wednesday, though, right?
Yes, sir.
You love the GHSA, don't you, and their infinite wisdom about scheduling things here toward the end of the school year and have right in the middle of the week doing something, you know?
Yeah, and then the quick turnaround. We had forever to wait on the first 2 weeks, and then you got a quick turnaround when the games are biggest. So you got me, flip a coin.
So tell me about this when it comes to, you talk about the rehab, getting your players ready for this next round because, there's only so much a young man's body can take.
Yeah, I think at this point, it's about, really solidifying what you do well. I don't think it's about, maximizing the most amount of reps or having the hardest practices, or I think it's about understanding that they've played and they've played well, and they understand the concepts and what you're trying to do, and they understand what it takes to win. So at this point, it's keeping them sharp and ready to play, and not overdoing it, so that they are at their best when you step on the field.
Something too. Here you are, 35 games into the season, Coach. Is okay. Anytime you can play in May, that's a good thing.
Yeah, we said that at the beginning of the year. We in our first meeting in the first week of August, we talk about playing in May. That's the goal. And if we can get to the 40th game, one of our sayings is process 40, and what's the process on getting to that 40th game? And usually, if you get to the 40th game, you're in a good spot in Final Four or the state championship. So that's been their mentality all along, and we've preached it, and they bought into it.
It's really something too. You go back even to the 21 year, the 17 year, and it's a journey to get to the point of even playing for the state championship, and it's a grind at times, and to see where this team can go. And these guys are learning a lot, aren't they? Oh man,
as good as the seniors that we have, we're still pretty young. You look out there, and at one point you got a sophomore catcher, you got a sophomore third baseman, a sophomore shortstop, a sophomore second baseman, a junior pitcher, a junior first baseman. So just the experience. I think this is our fifth Elite Eight in the last 8 years, not counting COVID, which is pretty incredible if you look at that and what the guys have accomplished. So the experience is you can't. There's nothing to fake experience. So just getting this experience for those guys in the dugout that'll be coming back is a big deal.
All right, so we'll be with you coming up on Wednesday. It's Troop and North Hall from LaGrange, and we'll get the schedule from Coach Flo, and I'll be with you telling you all about it coming up on Monday morning. Trevor, always appreciate the time, so go get you a nap, okay?
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
All right, thanks, brother. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Mike.
That is Coach Trevor Flo, the head baseball coach at North Hall. We'll be with them coming up on Wednesday here on your home team for North Georgia Sports. Coming up next, we'll talk with Chuck Graham about lots more in the world of sports here on 97.5 Glory FM with the Saturday Morning Sports Show with a live video stream on YouTube at Team Glory Sports.
Charlie King back with us from King Green. And I don't know about you, Charlie, but I've got much better things to do than pull weeds out of my lawn.
I heard that. If you don't have weeds, you don't have a lawn. Our job is to keep those weeds at bay. year-round. Our program works by preventing weeds and by killing those that are already up. Give us a holler. We'd love to come out and take a look at your lawn.
Keep it looking good with King Green. Easy to do. Find out more online at kinggreen.com or just give them a call like Charlie said at 770-536-7611.
Here I am on the road again, ready to pick up the kids from school, go by the grocery store, and do all the things a busy mother does. It's because I just left North Hall Tire and Wheel, where they made sure I was ready to go. They put on a fresh set of tires, checked the brakes, and even the battery. I know I can trust Mike and Matt and the guys at North Hall Tire and Wheel. They have everything you need, all the name brand tires at the best prices, and the service you need. They're on Cleveland Highway in Gainesville, so give them a call at 770-297-5308.
97.5 Glory FM.
Your radio station for North Georgia sports just past 9:30. Second half of the show beginning now with Chuck Graham joining us here by phone. Hey, Chuck.
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
I'm blessed, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well, man, doing well.
So what we're going to talk about this morning, Chuck, where are you going to start?
Well, I would like to talk about the Hawks.
Okay.
And possibly a look into their future, but I do think that the last time we talked, the Hawks were up 2-1.
Yes, they were.
And, I thought they had tremendous momentum moving into the next game, Game 4, actually. Where I thought if they could have won Game 4, it would have definitely changed the whole outlook on the entire series. But I think what happened, New York realized they had a huge advantage in the inside. And their defensive pressure on the perimeter, they turned it up a notch. And, going into the series, I thought New York was the better team, but I thought the Hawks actually had a chance to possibly upset them. But I think the better team won.
But Chuck, they got just spanked in the last two games.
Well, I think after they got hit in the mouth in Game 4, and then they had to go back to New York, and they played well early, but again, the inside, and then New York got their confidence and the momentum. So I think the series was over after Game 5. So coming back here for Game 6, the Hawks was probably 1 foot out the door already on vacation. But New York, it was an onslaught. I mean, they couldn't miss a shot, and the Hawks turned the ball over. I think they had more turnovers than they actually had field goals at one point. So.
Wow.
But a great season. I mean, you think about the Hawks where they came from at the beginning of the year. You trade your franchise player a third of the way into the season, and then you're able to go on a nice run to actually make the playoffs and get the fifth seed in the playoffs. So, good year. Now it's some gaps. In order to take that next step, you just got to make sure that in this off season that we address our lack of depth in the inside.
But Chuck, one thing about it, they won the division. What does it tell you about the Southeast Division? Yeah,
well, Mike. So and you got to look at this too when you start looking at NBA records. And I think the NBA put some steps in place to address this moving forward. But a lot of teams were tanking.
Okay.
And so night in and night out, you may end up winning a game by a team just either sitting somebody out or, playing odd combinations of players. But it's nothing to take away from the Hawks now. I'm not saying that, but I do think that the Hawks took advantage of a division that was relatively, I would say, not as strong as the other, especially in the New York division.
Oh, sure. No doubt about it.
So, but like I said, I'm overall, I couldn't be pleased. If you'd have told me this before the game that we have a first round before the season, especially after trading Trey, I think most Hawks fans would have taken this. Now, they gave us a glimpse of the future or the hope because this core is very young. And just now, I think if we can shore up get some more size, then you can compete with the New Yorks and the Bostons.
So we're talking with Chuck Graham, our basketball expert here on 97.5 Glory FM. So when you look at how you end the season there, what kind of taste does that leave in the mouth of the players, the coach, and the front office?
Well, I mean, you know what? I hate the way they lost the other night because it was just really just non-competitive.
Oh, absolutely.
And you really can't take any positives away. But if I'm the coach and I'm addressing the team, we know we're better than that. Something just happened and we just didn't click and we didn't show up to play. But let's look at this basically as a snapshot and take from this experience and move forward. Since we've gone through this before, we've gone through a first-round series against a pretty good team, a title contending team.
Mm-hmm.
Let's kind of like forget this game and understand, like, look, in order to win playoff games, you cannot turn the ball over. You can't give other teams just blank possessions without scoring. That's the main takeaway out because that's what you can control. Now, the size thing, really couldn't control that, but from a standpoint of just competing, I mean, we're way better than that, you know. And so let's look at this as a snapshot, but let's learn from it because this experience or even this loss can help propel us into making a run to the playoffs next year and in the future.
All right, explain to our listeners here from this standpoint, Chuck, with your background. There's talent, and then there's really the desire to be the best you want to be and be an elite player. Where are the Hawks right now when it comes to that?
Well, you know, Mike, the one thing about talent is everybody at that level is talented.
Exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to look at this, and this trickles down on every level because you have guys that play hard, and playing hard is like a non-negotiable. I mean, you have to play hard in order. But then the flip side of that is it's a difference between playing hard and competing.
Good point.
And sometimes when you get these multimillionaires with these guaranteed contracts and a lot of different people in their ears, you don't get the guys that are super competitive that will win at all costs.
Right.
And to give you a prime example, because some people don't understand it, playing hard, I would just say, as an example, is I'm going to box out, and I'm going to make sure, you know, that you know, I have an opportunity to get the ball. So I'm going to do my job. I'm going to box out. Well, a competitor says, not only am I going to box out, but I'm going to make sure I get the ball. It's like that. I'm made up in my mind. Like, if that ball's on the floor, I'm going to make sure I get it. So that's the distinct difference, is the competitor has a determination and a no-quit. And I think that the Hawks right now, we have a bunch of talented guys, but I think, and we have guys that play hard. But I think it's next year, moving forward, the lesson that could be learned, we have to get more competitive in terms of we can't lose a game like that at home. That's the only thing that disturbed me a little bit. It's one thing to lose, but not to show up. I think you have to totally eliminate, address it, then eliminate it, and then move forward. But I think that all starts with being a competitor.
Well, and there's the idea, we can talk about this for a while, even on your level. You have this enable type of mentality. You know, it's mine, give it to me, and they're not used to the adversity. And then it's okay, I'll just quit, and you don't see the competitiveness at all, do you?
Well, you know, a lot of that, Mike, especially the sense of entitlement, is very dangerous. It's hard to get out your locker room too, because you do have some kids that think like that, you know, that we owe them something just for showing up playing. Now, even in the high school level, like if you have guys that compete and they play hard, but that sense of entitlement, and sometimes you get that in the locker room, in the NBA locker room, and it spreads.
It can be a cancer big time, can't it?
They're huge. So I think, and when you're putting a team together, chemistry is so important on every level.
Absolutely.
High school, but in college and in the NBA, you get an opportunity to choose who you have in your locker room. So I would take a less talented player that has chemistry or character, and because you know what you're going to get.
Sure.
You know, sometimes that sense of entitlement, that guy may not show up one game. You know, play may be inconsistent. And as a coach, the one thing that we love to count on, and that's, I guess, go with business, anything, I know exactly what I'm going to get from that guy in any situation. And I know during adversity, he's not going to quit because he's not playing for himself. He's playing for his teammates. You know, he's not playing with them. He's playing for them. And if you get guys that play for each other,
that's really, really powerful.
And what's going to motivate that player to make him be his best?
Yes, because if I'm just playing for myself, and if I run into any type of resistance, and I don't feel like it's worth me even trying, I'm gonna quit. You know, so it's easy to quit for yourself. So if you're playing for yourself, it's easy to quit. But if you're playing for the guy that's next to you, or you playing for your coach, or I'm playing for my school. If you're playing for something, what I'm trying to say, if you're playing for something a lot bigger than you are, a lot larger than you are.
Chuck, think about, from that standpoint, what I hear you saying is all about the discipline. And think about, say, one of the programs like Army, Navy, Air Force, that kind of thing, and you see the purpose that they have once they even leave the locker room.
Well, they're playing for, I'm saying they understand exactly who they are and where they are, and they're playing for a bigger cause. Now, we say that too, and I shared this during my testimony, that because I got too much attention too soon, I had started kind of developing that mentality of entitlement. And wasn't a bad person, but it also shifted my identity, Mike.
Sure.
It shifted my identity to, I'm playing for headlines and fame and all the worldly things, when the ultimate goal is God has blessed you with ability. Let's honor him and play for him, or play for something larger than yourself. So
you tell me, before you had the foundation that you have now, that you had sort of a big head?
Oh, yeah. It was hard. And I wasn't a bad person, Mike.
I understand that.
This is how you can get tripped up. Because the world will define success for you.
Oh, yes.
And with money, fame, and all the glory, that faded glory, the world will say, this is what you chase, and this is who you should become. And because as a 10th grader, you know, I was player of the year in my area and in the region. At that point, reading those headlines made me chase worldly success. And it was hard to get my identity back, because once I never struggled in basketball until my sophomore year of college. And this when I knew my identity was tied up, Michael. I would miss a shot, or I would have a bad game, and my whole mood swing would change.
Oh, I can hear it. Yes, sir. Preach it.
Yeah, because I didn't know who I was. I lost my identity. You know, and you see it in a lot of young people, and from an eternal view, what we're doing now here, a lot of this stuff doesn't really matter, Mike, because this is just temporary.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
This is so temporary. So you look at things from an eternal perspective, and know that, hey, man, this is we want to compete and we want to win, but this is just a game. But the world will tell you something different.
All right, so how about this, Chuck? Even from the front office standpoint, what they do now, and they're the same way. You know, they're in chasing the money, they're chasing the fame, they're chasing whatever. You know, then it's okay. You got to have players, you got to have the right coach, and you got the NBA draft coming up or July after Father's Day, and they got a lot to do between now and then.
And it's so hard, like when you think about it from a front office standpoint. But I think the Hawks really, really have to look at themselves in the mirror and want to decide like their vision or what they want to cast in the community. Because they do have a platform that can change or can actually influence a lot of different people. So understand what they were trying to do, but at the same time, just understand the magnitude and the effect that indirect consequence that it may have on a young person or on a community. So I think they really have to just take a long look at, okay, well, who are we trying to advertise this to? Is this going to be a family-type situation? Are we going to try to influence or impact kids? But even with the little hiccup they had mid-season, I think it's a tremendous growth opportunity for the Hawks to turn it around. And I hope they take advantage of it.
So you got an idea about some of the top players in the draft?
We got a couple guys, a lot of freshmen. You got the Acuff from Arkansas. I really like him a lot. Followed him during the season, and when it really mattered, he played great. So Darius Acuff is the guy. You got the young man at BYU. I can't pronounce his last name, but he's going to be a player, 6'10" player that can play inside and out. And then you talk about a local guy from Atlanta, the guy that played at North Carolina. I think he played at Holy Innocents High School.
Oh, yes, I know you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, he's going to be a tremendous player in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And, hopefully the Hawks can land, one of those talented guys. But the Hawks, just looking at it, they just need a lot of size.
Mm-hmm.
And, Mike, it's different now because you got a lot of these guys that will declare for the draft. And, of course, if they don't sign with an agent, they can come back and play.
Mm-hmm. Everybody has an agent now. You know that. Everybody has an agent.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have to get an agent to negotiate your NIL deal.
Yes, sir.
So you have guys that actually play some kind of professional basketball, whether it's a minor league or a professional league. They've actually been paid to play. Now these guys are going back to college, some of them, because it's more lucrative, to play in college, and then you're on another stage and probably playing against better competition. So, the system is definitely broken. I was actually on Florida State's X page, their Twitter page this week, and I saw that a couple of guys that they brought in have signed multi-year deals, which is unheard of.
With Florida State?
But, yeah, it's like they're almost under contract, so they can't transfer. Like, in order to get their NIL deal, it's basically tied to you being here multiple
There's
years.
the condition. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I think that's a great way to do it. So to make sure you can maintain a roster.
Sure.
What I'm trying to say. Yeah, so I thought that was actually brilliant. When I read it, I had to read it like 3 times.
There's some college basketball teams that just basically lost their entire team and having to go back from ground zero.
And you're going to get a lot of that, especially if you have a coaching change. And now, you don't have to have a coaching change to lose like 75% of your roster.
Absolutely. Because they're being recruited the whole time.
Yeah, and there's no way possible that you can build chemistry and even build a team and even work on the fundamental stuff that you need to work on as far as a program when you have to overhaul every year.
Because you're internally recruiting the whole time. Say, I want you to keep you here, and it's, well, how much money will you give me? That kind of thing.
Yes, and like I told you before, Mike, like the players have all the leverage.
Oh, yeah.
They went from having no leverage to now, like, if this kid is not playing enough, I mean, he's going to end up eventually leaving my program. Or if he's playing so well that he's garnishing attention from other schools, somebody else will pick him up. So it's a no-win right now for college coaches.
Can we say that the inmates are on the inside?
I think you can put it out there that way, because like right now, man, you have college coaches right now that are really, and this can ever be the case, but I think it is. Sometimes you have to have a different coaching style just to make sure you can maintain a roster. So you may not hold a kid accountable 100%, because if this kid, he got so many people in his ear, other teams recruiting him, you may not be able to hold that kid to that standard that you would like them to.
But you're seeing it in college football now. You're seeing it in college basketball more than any of the sports. And thank God it hadn't really hit college baseball yet. But we see what was going on with the Braves is that you see that you got to have players, and then you can make the most of them. Out of them, you can have a great season like the Braves are having right now.
Oh, you can just see the Braves are playing for each other. And Mike, just think about this, and this is scary for the rest of MLB. The Braves are really not hitting the ball like they can.
No.
I mean, offensively, I wouldn't say it's been a struggle. We've had timely hits, and I think that's why we won so many games. But once, Acuna gets going, Riley gets going, then you'll see the full complement of what this thing could look like. But I think the chemistry that they have right now under first-year manager Walt Weiss, he's maybe brought a breath of fresh air
and
a new voice. And, of course, he was on the staff before, and, the culture of what the Braves have established, the managers come in and the players know what's expected and they know their roles. And, and you can actually see the product on the field.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hey, final thing for you. Have you met your new principal yet?
Yes, I have, man. I'm super excited. It's Marla Lear. I think she would do a tremendous job, man. And I've had a opportunity to talk to her once. She has a tremendous story, and I think it's something that our kids can relate to. But she got some big shoes to fill, man. Dr. Halcott he will be missed.
Yes,
he will be missed.
No doubt. All right, brother. We got to go. Let's talk next time, okay, brother?
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you. God bless.
Thank you, friend. Have a good one. That is our man. It is Chuck Graham here on 97.5 Glory FM. Coming up next, we'll wrap things up. We're going to have a special talk with Dave Cohen coming up next on the Saturday Morning Sports Show.
Chick-fil-A is a proud sponsor of Hall County Athletics and the great student athletes that compete on the fields, courts, tracks, and mats. Chick-fil-A was introduced into Hall County way back in 1987 at Lakeshore Mall. Throughout the years, they've been blessed to develop countless relationships with the schools here in Hall County. They're thanking everyone for their support of Chick-fil-A, which allows them to help support our schools, coaches, and student athletes. In Gainesville, you'll find Chick-fil-A on Jesse Jewell Parkway. Eat more chicken!
The landscape of North Georgia continues to change, and when you're looking to buy a home or land, you need someone who knows the real estate market. Turn to Chris McCall Realty. Chris has been serving the Hall and surrounding counties for 27 years. He specializes in residential real estate. Whether it's home, land, acreage, or farms, customer satisfaction is most important to him. Find out more today. Log online to McCallProperties.com.
97.5 Glory FM.
Your radio station for North Georgia sports. You're tuned to the Saturday Morning Sports Show, 97.5 Glory FM, online at WGTJRadio.com. And this morning, we're back on YouTube at Team Glory Sports. You get a chance to see me work behind the scenes here at our sports center at your family radio station, your home for North Georgia sports. We'll wrap things up this morning talking to the newest member of the Georgia State Athletics Hall of Fame, Dave Cohen, joins us this morning. Hello, David.
Good morning, Mike. Thank you.
Congratulations, and let everybody know that last Saturday you and your wife Carol were honored, and I'm sure a big surprise being inducted into the GSU Hall of Fame.
Well, it sure was, because both of us are voting members on the Hall of Fame committee. And we had voted back in August. We thought we had 5 candidates, or I thought we had 5 candidates. Turned out we had 4. And then every April at the Golden Panther Student Athlete Award Banquet, we honor the that year's Hall of Fame inductees, which that's the portion of the program that I MC. I host that segment. So I went up and did my segment, and we inducted April DeCoste, who played court volleyball at Georgia State, one of the greatest to play that sport for the Panthers. Patricia Hartman, one of the greats in women's basketball. Of course, R.J. Hunter, men's basketball. And from football, Ulrich John. And so, we inducted those 4. I thought my portion of the ceremony was over. I went back and sat down next to my wife, Carol, and next thing you know, they start talking about Carol and then myself, and it was a total surprise to us, and we became the 5th inductees in this year's class. It was quite a surprise and very honored.
And big clap right here from you, your best friend here from that standpoint. As I said, my ex-post reply, no one more deserving than Dave Cohen and his wife Carol for, 42 years now, the voice of the Panthers?
We just wrapped up year 43 on the radio with basketball.
All right.
You know how it is, Mike. You've seen it. You've been with us for football for all 16 years. There are ups, there are downs, there are highs, there are lows. You go season from season, coach to coach, players to players. You just hope that you're going to have a winning season and things are going to fall as you hope they will. But it's been a little bit of a struggle recently with football and men's basketball. But hopefully they're back on the trajectory of getting back to having winning programs again year in and year out. But as you were just talking with your previous guest, Chuck, college athletics has changed a lot in a very short amount of time. And we saw this with Jonas Hayes and with what Dell McGee is facing with regards to the transfer portal and having to pay players. And it's just a different world. And it's going to take some schools a little bit longer to adjust to the new operation of college athletics. And some schools will get it, some won't. The ones that have more money at the P4 level will adjust a little quicker because they have the resources.
Mm-hmm.
And the group of 6 schools are going to take some of them are going to take a little bit longer because of the challenge of gaining those type resources in order to be competitive.
Well, the average fan may not know Dave Cohen and his background. Is that I can compare him to my Mount Rushmore broadcasters when it comes to college sports. Put up there, you put Larry Munson of the University of Georgia. You put Al Seraldo of Georgia Tech, Nate Hurst of Georgia Southern, and then you put Dave Cohen there from Georgia State on that Mount Rushmore. And that's, if you don't know these, Dave, these other guys, is that's the quality and the longevity. Nobody doing it any longer than that. And that's what's really amazing, Dave, to keep doing it year after year after year.
Yeah, and I was fortunate, Mike, and I appreciate that. I was fortunate to know Nate many years down at Georgia Southern, back in the days when Georgia State and Georgia Southern were in the same conference the first time, not now as we are in the Sun Belt. Got to know Munson a little bit from my days at WGST and the Georgia Radio News Network. And then, of course, Al Seraldo is the legendary former voice of Georgia Tech. When I was at WGST working part-time, Al eventually, and the Tech contract, moved over to WCNN, which you know is 680 The Fan. And once Al moved over there with the Georgia Tech contract, shortly thereafter, he came back and offered me and brought me over to WCNN. So Al was a great guy, salesman first, broadcaster first. But those are three guys. They don't make radio guys like that anymore. The Munsons, the Seraldos, the Hirsches, because of the emergence of television and streaming and ESPN Plus. Radio doesn't play the same role that it used to. But older guys like you and me, we still have the appreciation of the art of calling a football or a basketball or a baseball game on the radio airwaves.
Well, you can have TV all day long, but the men I just mentioned, how many people know them because that's how they followed their team, and that's what you did on radio?
Yeah, I said for many years that, before the advent of every game on television, for example, at the University of Georgia, when I first moved here, the three most recognizable names and faces in Georgia athletics were Vince Dooley, Herschel Walker, and Larry Munson.
Absolutely, yes. And now you see how they even made their change. That's go back to the longevity again. You go from Larry Munson to Scott Howard, and now to Jeff Danzler. It's okay, that's what's amazing with you is the longevity of being there for all these years.
Yeah, well, I've always said, Mike, and I don't know what happened at UGA. I did read about it, and that was a little surprising. I've gotten to know Scott a little bit over the years, and I know Jeff from crossing paths with him during the college baseball season. But, the Georgia State job has never been just a job to me. I'm a Georgia State alum. I got there when I was 19 or 20 years old. I grew up in the program. I've grown with the program. Like I said the other night when I spoke at the ceremony, I've never scored a touchdown. I've never shot a basket. I've never hit a home run or never singled or doubled with the Georgia State baseball team. But in some small way, I have forged out a part of myself identified with the Georgia State athletics program. And I'm a Georgia State alum, class of 86 and 94. So it's never been just a job for me. It's a passion, that I have had with Georgia State University athletics. And as it has grown, I have grown. And it's been a wonderful experience. Like I said, 43 years. Carol and I met at Georgia State when she worked in the athletic department. She's on the academic side of things now. But, Georgia State's been a great place for us.
97.5 Glory FM is WGTJ Murrayville, Gainesville, and W248DL Murrayville, Gainesville.
Gotta go. That is the Saturday Morning Sports Show.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Economist Steve Moore says President Trump's economic policies are helping Americans.
We've saved $1 trillion in regulatory costs thanks to Trump's deregulation.
As for those high gas prices, everybody's paying.